Are we live? Oh, we're
Now
live. We're
we're
live.
Oh,
on.
we're live.
Yes. What's up,
Awesome.
guys?
What's up, Mr. P? What's up, Ting?
What's up?
I'm good. I'm
How,
good. Doing pretty good.
how are you guys doing tonight? Yeah, P, you're good.
Doing very good.
It's not too cold in your car.
No, I got the heating all turned on. Seat heating, steering wheel heating, everything's good. Everything is good. Nice and warm, 29 degrees.
You're all about that
Okay.
mobile office space.
Yeah,
With the free
exactly.
unlimited swap, then I envy you, man. You can just swap it out when the battery is like 20% or 10, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlimited.
All right. Let's leave it for like a minute or two. Let's have all the people who like to tune in, right? Maybe I'll
Have
just
we?
send the link along to the channel too. Just
You guys are
we got
both
the
in
first
Beijing
like.
right now. Right? We got a
We
like. All
got a
right.
first like, and we are about to hit the first 10 viewers
All right.
All right, that's awesome.
overall. Yeah, at least now we're 16 now. Wow, that's
All
power,
right.
Mr. P. I think
The power of P.
the power, of Mr. P.
So, what do you want? You think we should get started?
Yeah, we are about 20 people. We can start slow and keep it along the way. Yeah.
All right. So, welcome to the first episode of the unofficial Neo podcast. It's Blue Sky Coming, and we're doing this weekly where we share Neo news, rumors, speculation, and our personal experiences as Neo users. So, of course, make sure you subscribe here or subscribe. We're also going to be on Apple Podcasts, and do not miss any episodes. We'll be here every single week. So, why don't you introduce yourself, starting with Mr. P?
Yep, my name is Mr. P, and I own a new EC6. I've been a new owner for 3 years. Love the car, fantastic. And yeah, I have my own YouTube channel, and yeah, I love Neo.
What's your channel name, P?
Mr. P Neo Videos.
There you go. Ting?
Yes, my name is Ting. I'm from Thailand. I've been a Neo user for 4 months. And thanks to Mr. P up here, he's actually convinced me to get one. So he's actually, how to say referral? I use his referral code, by the way. So I'm one of them. So glad to be here with you guys, man.
And you got an ES6.
I'm 2023 year six.
Can you tell real quickly what did you get for using Mr. P's referral? What bonus did you guys both get?
I got what's that? The 12,000 Neo points.
Yeah, 12,000 Neo
Yeah.
points.
So
If you,
that's worth 1,200 RMB, give or take, right?
Hmm.
So you can use that for like a lot of things. I actually exchanged for the TPU carpet inside the mat, the floor mat inside the car, and
Yeah.
it's doing pretty well, and still some points left. So
and Ting, you're a former Tesla Model S owner?
I still am. I got
Still.
one ES6 and Tesla, and now recently 2023 Tesla Model S long range.
Oh, you got a new
So I got
Tesla.
the best of both. Yeah, I got the
Oh,
best of
nice.
both. Battery swap and supercharger, I think, until
Nice.
ET9 come out, which we will be discussing later, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so me, I'm a Eric, obviously. I'm a former EC6 user here in China. And also I subscribed to an ET7 in Germany for a month where I drove it. I think I hit 10 countries in actually 2 different ET7s, but over the course of a month. So also a lot of experience with Neo. So welcome here to the channel, guys. Um, so yeah, I guess the first thing we're going to do is we're going to send this over to Mr. P to lead a discussion on this week's rumors.
All right. So, just quickly to glance through deliveries, if you guys don't know, 4,100 for a previous week, and so far this month until Christmas, we got 12,000 deliveries. So pretty nice. So the rumor that we're going to talk about, of course, the sub brand. They're launching the sub brand very soon, actually, like very very soon. Maybe even next month, but in the next couple of months they'll be launching the sub brand, and they've already patented a lot of stuff. And the rumors are, all right, here are the rumors. Might be true, might not be true, but it's apparently going to be called Onvo, and the Chinese name is Xiangxiang. They've got a logo which looks like an N. And then one thing that I actually found out today is they actually patented the equivalent for Nomi Assistant. So in Neos, it's called Nomi, but in that car, it's apparently going to be called Xiaolu. So they've also patented that, and that's going to be either that sub-brand, Onvo, or the Firefly sub-brand. So that's pretty interesting. So something to look forward to. Things are going pretty fast, and the sub-brand cars, apparently they're probably only going to launch one to start off with, and deliveries will probably start in summer. They pushed it forward half a year from the end of 2024 to summer of 2024, and obviously it's to get those sales numbers in and to compete in the 200K to 300K area, which has a lot of competition, but I have confidence that NIO is going to get it right.
So, Mr. P, I have a question because I heard there was 3 different cars in the first sub-brand, Alps sub-brand. Are they just launching one first, or are they launching 3, or are my rumors I've heard wrong?
I've heard that they're probably launching one to start off with, and then gradually they'll launch more cars. And their goal is to sell those cars properly, like actually get those numbers up, like sales numbers up, delivery numbers up. And they're going to be focusing very hard on sales. And apparently those products will be basically offering what everybody wants, like big displays, comfortable seats, spacious interior, and and you can choose different powertrains. There's going to be single motor or dual motor if you want. So that's going to be pretty nice.
And you can buy with battery as a service?
That we don't know yet, but it will support Gen 3 and Gen 4 swap stations. So that's going to be very nice.
All right. And, do you have any questions about that, Ting? Do you have?
No, actually, I was kind of thinking like we still got some bunch of Gen 1 swap station, right? And I'm not sure whether they're gonna start piloting all the sub brand, like maybe they have full right access to the Gen 1 because it's still all around, right? And then still have exclusivity for NIO for Gen 3 or 4, Gen 2, maybe both. I don't know, because they need to try to utilize Gen 1 somehow.
There's not too many left.
They changed it? Do they upgrade it or?
Well, I know there was 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Gen 1 swap stations and Gen 2 swap stations, they can only swap NIO batteries. But Gen 3 and Gen 4, they can swap to different battery types. So that's something that they added for Gen 3 and Gen 4. And Gen 1 swap stations, it's a very old relic from before, but it's very unworth it for them to replace it. It doesn't really make sense for them to like remove it. Yeah.
I know 2 in Shenzhen are gone. I don't know if their lease on the space ran out or what, but they weren't replaced. They were just they've been removed entirely.
Decommissioned, right? Completely.
Yeah, they're just gone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So have you guys the lease duration that I've heard is at least minimum like 5 to 10 years. Like 5 to 10 years is what they want for lease duration. So maybe that reached that limit, or maybe they just because they're renting the land, they might have the landowner might have said, we got some other purpose for this, you got to go. So could be possible.
All right. Are there any other? Oh, I guess I got a question about the sub brand as well, Mr. P. Any idea what the first car is it targeting? Is it targeting Model Y segment or something else?
Oh, well, NIO CEO did say that they're going to target whatever sells well. So Model Y currently sells the best. So it's pretty obvious that, yes, Model Y segment is what they're going to go after. Model Y and Model 3. And in NIO CEO's own words, imagine a Model 3 or Model Y that can do battery swap. So that's a pretty big giveaway.
Have you guys seen many of the new Model 3s driving around Beijing?
I've seen them in stores, but not driving around. No.
All right. I wonder how that's doing out here because it seems like sedans aren't really the big thing anymore.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
But then Xiaomi just launched their Suqi and Suqi Max, right?
Just
Su is
today.
from the Speed, right? Speed 7 Max. So that's sedan with aim for Taycan and and Model S Plaid even. They try to diss all the RPM for Model S Plaid and all. So sedan is still maybe something. Neo
Yeah,
went
I
with
mean,
a larger one with 89. Yeah.
yeah, there's still some, but it seems like that's kind of going the way of the Dodo.
Nah.
All right. Any other rumors to share this week, Mr. P?
None so far.
All right. Any from you, Ting? Anything?
I don't have much rumor actually.
I don't get the rumors
I'm just
either.
a new user, so actually I watched through all Mr. P's rumors.
Yeah.
For lifestyle stuff, then I watch yours, Eric. So mostly these are the two channels that I gain the info from, Neo related mostly. Yeah.
I think me and
Actually,
Go ahead.
we can talk about two other things that aren't. One of them is actually Xiaomi. So apparently, Xiaomi, they launched the SU7. Well, not really launched, but the material, they got a new material called like Titan material or something. And I'm seeing over here on a lot of these Neo WeChat groups that apparently this is not made by Xiaomi, but they're claiming that it's made by them, and then they're getting they're potentially gonna get sued. So I'm not too sure about that, but that's what the word on the street is. All right. So that's a little bit off topic. But number two, apparently Neo is also considering, well, they're going to implement subscription model for the Neo Pilot for first gen Neo owners. So like guys like me, but I already bought the full Neo Pilot. I spent like 39,000 RMB for the full Neo Pilot package. But apparently you're going to be able to pay monthly and use it whenever you want, sort of like NT 2.0 cars. But apparently a lot of Neo owners are not happy with that. Yeah, to be expected.
But for a person that already paid for it, it's obviously like grandfathered in, right? You don't have to pay for it. It's only people who didn't originally opt in.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But for them, it's gonna be like it's gonna be much better if you didn't buy it at the start, right? And then you just pay monthly whenever you want to use it. And apparently, okay, and this is just could be total BS. The fee that they're gonna charge is very low. So, yeah.
Any guesses? Like 280 or something?
No, less than that, like 100 something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 180 is like what, 20, 30 bucks a month? 100 and something. Yeah.
It'll be very good for those that did not buy a Neo Pilot. But for guys that did buy a Neo Pilot, it doesn't really affect us, except makes us feel a little bit like we got ripped off. But that's okay.
Yeah. That's right.
But,
oh well.
But you can transfer to the new car if you buy it. It stay with the users or it stay with the car?
This stays with the car because the NT 2.0 cars have different system, right? They got the LiDAR system. And but because I bought the full Pilot package, if I buy an NT 2.0 car, I get 10 years of free Neo Pilot. Yeah, so that's pretty worth it if I buy a new Neo NT 2.0 car. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we'll then wrap up our rumors for today. How about we move on to the latest news in the Neo world? And I guess the biggest news is Neo Day. Ting, you got to visit Neo Day for the first time ever. Anything you want to share from Neo Day? How was your feeling there?
First of all, I would say I'm impressed with all the arrangement, right? And the Neo user volunteers there, they're a bunch of them, and they are really, really helpful. And we get to see a lot. Like you were there, Eric, so you see all of this. It's not your first time too, so you see the development of how it is. So all the ecosystem they have, they bring it on the show. the market before the event start. We see a lot of booths that represent each of the ecosystem they have. Neo service, Neo power, and for the first time, I think we see the Neo phone booth. That's the first to be add on this year, I think.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
And the Neo booth for the phone was really interesting because they were actually like not just displaying the phones for people to see, but actually selling them too. Which
they're selling it, yeah.
Yeah, for at least in my previous experience at Neo Day, of course you could buy like Neo Life products and stuff, but I wouldn't really think it's like also an electronics market, I guess, so to speak. It's not like an Apple store. They didn't obviously have the product before, but I wouldn't have thought they were going to be selling phones, and they were actually legitimately selling phones. We both were there at different times and witnessed phones being sold. So, you know, the phone's not a total.
I mean, the booth is like jam packed.
Yeah, people were checking it out and buying it. Even you said, right, one of the phones was sold out. I assume.
Yeah, I took some video inside, right? And then one of the guys actually like kind of tickled me and say, "Hey, did you get the phone from here?" I said, "No, I bought it like long ago, right? Because I also used the EP edition here." So that guy was like, "Hey, how did you get this one?" I said, "I bought it online." And then some other people was saying, "No, that one was sold out."
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the phone is selling pretty good. Like at Neo Day, I mentioned in my previous video, like I saw tons of Neo phones there. The night before Neo Day, I went out to a dinner with some Neo staff and a bunch of Neo users, and almost every single person had a Neo phone. You had a Neo phone. People were buying Neo phones, and of course, it's Neo Day, so there are Neo fans there. But I feel like the phone has got to be, it's at least selling to Neo users. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Neo phone so far? Mr. P, any insight into sales?
Not that much, but a lot of new employees are actually also using Neo phone as well because it doubles as a key to all the vehicles. So, for example, the Neo manager, he had 2 Android phones before, and then he switched to a Neo phone, and with that phone, he's able to do basically everything. Also, it's very easy for them, the team now, to get into a test drive vehicle. They don't have to look for different keys, and they just basically walk up to the car and it unlocks. It's pretty convenient for them as well, and also they're capable of showcasing the features of the phone like right there to the customer. So it was pretty nice, pretty convenient. So a lot of Neo employees are using the Neo phone, so that's pretty nice. Yeah.
So, Ting, I'm going to talk to you or ask you a question about the phone later. Let's talk more about Neo Day first. Let's stay on the Neo Day topic. So, with regards to Neo Day, of course, you mentioned the new user volunteers and all the different activities, the community market. But what about actual Neo Day, the presentation? Any surprises or anything that you want to talk about?
I think for me, it's their launch of the Neo Power 4.0, right? Swap station plus the power charger, but it's a little bit ahead of its time in the sense they would roll out this one like obviously Q1 next year. I think in April, right?
Q2. Oh yeah,
Q2 or
Q1.
Like end of Q1, sort of.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it's premature launch, but it's just like like I want to use it. I want to try it with whatever the EV I try, which does support 800 volt. So I could try the max speed that I could take, right? Because when I do a review of the EV around, when there's a 800 volt system, I hardly find anything anywhere around to charge to 250 or whatever that the spec that they claim, right? So if they have that one, like end of this year, man, I'll be testing it with the Avatar 12.12 end of the year, maybe, right?
Well, Neo at least does already have the 500 kilowatt chargers out there. I would assume there's some in your area.
Yeah, maybe some. The 500 is also support up to 1000 volt DC, right?
I'm not sure.
If it's 1000 volt DC, then it would take up 200 amps of current. So it wouldn't peak much. I need to check the spec of the 500 volt. But I was eagerly, like really want them to announce, and then now the new station is actually opening on the way back if you guys drive from Xi'an back to Beijing or something like that.
That would have been a cool. That would have been a cool like shadow drop. Like one more thing, we actually have already launched a Power Station 4.0 and a Charger 4.0 or whatever updated. That would have been cool.
And the station itself is really cool. It's as if you have all the turbo vision of the NT 2.0 on top of the station, right? It's actually, as he said, communicate with the car as when it reverse back to see all the environment. And also, I think we see a lot of cool stuff with the PSS 4.0, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. P, what did you think about Neo Day this year?
Before I talk about that, just one quick add-on for Power Swap for the 500 kilowatt chargers that are already out there. Apparently, you can find them at every 3.0 swap station. So everywhere there's a 3.0 swap station, there's going to be a 500 kilowatt charger. So that's a very interesting information to keep at the back of your head. So for Neo Day, what I found very interesting was, first of all, I wasn't there, but when I saw their promo clip of what happened before the launch event, outside there was a statue, almost like a statue, with all the different Neo owner clubs out there, and there was just a ton of them. So that was pretty shocking. Like there's so many different groups of Neo owners that formed their own club, and these clubs, they have their own events, they have their own like parties, they have their own like activities, and it's just amazing. And sometimes they even do like very nice activities like helping plant trees and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like what Neo does, but they do it themselves. So this is pretty cool, like how there's so many different clubs out there for Neo owners. So that was one thing I found very interesting. And then the second thing, of course, is the ET9. I think for the ET9, one thing that really blew me away was the suspension, all right? And the reason was because the suspension, they use these clear motion hydraulic active suspension units, and they're able to regenerate electricity from the bumps in the road. So this is pretty crazy. So that means if you're driving, like with EVs, if you're driving downhill, you charge the battery. But now, if you're driving over a bumpy road, you also charge the battery, even though it's only a little bit. But that's still pretty crazy to think about. Like, damn, like EVs have really progressed quite a lot. And of course, the main feature is the stability of the ride, which is pretty cool. And also, for the first time, you have a Neo that can bounce up and down. So you can roll your music and hop along and bounce up and down. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's perfect for me. I'm from the West Coast. You know, we like to hit the hydraulics, and not me, but you know what I mean. If I was a Dodger fan, maybe, but go Giants. So what was I going to say? Oh, anything else, Mr. P, about that? Because I want to add something.
No, that's it.
Okay. So for me, for Neo Day, one thing I was really impressed with is that William Li actually had light on his face, unlike a certain Elon Musk at the Cybertruck launch. So that was really impressive. There goes my joke. It wasn't funny, but it's all right. They didn't shoot the car. That was also cool. So no, one thing I really liked about the ET9, and of course, was the interior. But no, let me start again. Hold on. So I talked to these guys that work on the ET9, and they actually said the same thing that William Li said about how there's a lot of stuff that has not been announced yet, right? A lot of stuff that is still coming. And I wasn't sure, because they told me this before the ET9 launched. I wasn't sure if they were just kind of like, you know, trying to hype me up or BS me or what. But Mr. P said the same thing that William Li apparently said it the day after, right? There's still a lot of stuff that hasn't been announced. Like maybe like 2/3 of the surprises haven't been announced, right? So I think that really kind of got me hyped. Mr. P, do you have any ideas what those things might be?
Well, they didn't talk about performance metrics, right? Like range and also the acceleration, that kind of stuff. And also the autonomous driving, they just basically touched on it. And apparently, according to leaks and rumors, that they got their L3 certification, so they're probably gonna drop that bomb with the ET9. So maybe that's one of the things that they're hiding right now, because right now with NIO's current vehicles, NT 2.0 cars, you can already achieve basically almost L3 like um, driving capabilities. The only thing that it's not really fully autonomous, it's not called NAD yet, is because of the legal things. But in terms of capability, it's already there. So imagine adding 2 more LiDARs on top of that, side LiDARs for 350-degree coverage. So you basically have full autonomous driving right there. But I think they're really hiding this and keeping it as a big move, sort of like an ultimate ability to show everybody at the end, near delivery probably, and be a big surprise and let everybody know, oh, look, by the way, our car has L3 certification. It'll be the first one in China, in Shanghai. We've actually got the certification a while ago, and this car fully supports it. So I think that's what they're looking at. And in terms of processing power, I'm sure they can do it. Yeah.
All right. So do you guys know anybody that actually made a reservation on the car personally, and are they fully committed to it? I know 2 people who say they're fully committed to it, except for one of them. He says unless NIO comes out with the MPV with the same technology, because he's like a very wealthy businessman and he wants to have his VIP people ride in the back in style and comfort. But he says he would prefer an MPV. What do you guys think about confirmed sales versus just people who are just showing off with their screenshots?
How about Ting? You start off.
Well, like I think we know the same person that he make a reservation and quite commit to it, and hopefully he'll get it in Q1 2025, and hopefully.
Yeah, we know that one.
But there are quite a few that I think since it's refundable, right? It's like 5K RMB, and you can refund before you configure your car. I can do it. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have any license plate left, I can do it, right? But then I do hope that eventually more than half would go for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, in my opinion, yeah. I mean, at least if they're really into tech and stuff, this is by far one of the most impressive one we see around, right? So,
do you guys think that since the car is kind of, it's a year away, and a lot of it, the reason for the announcement is kind of to hype up the brand and to keep excitement for the brand, do you think they showed enough impressive things to keep the momentum going and continue decent sales into 2024?
I think yes, because for quite a while, people have been saying that NIO's swapping is fast, but charging is not. And in the charging game, NIO is a slowpoke. And even sales reps have been saying to me that that's something that the customers have been trashing about. So now, really, there's nothing to trash on. There's nothing to bash on. So I think it's pretty nice that they got the job done, I think. And of course, eventually, this is going to definitely pass on to all the other vehicles in future iterations, because if you look at the market right now, everybody has like 800-volt fast charging. I mean, even the cheap cars as well. So it does not make sense for NIO in the future to not have that in their luxury cars. And going back to the pre-orders for the ET9, all right. So apparently, just 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I talked to the NIO manager, and actually the NIO manager, he sold me my EC6. He also sold Ting his ES6. So he's the guy responsible for both of our sales. So he's a very smart guy, knowledgeable, and very helpful. And by the way, when Ting, just a little backstory, when you got your test drive, he drove like 30 plus minutes to your place. And I guess you should tell people about the story, what happened.
This one was the test drive, the ES6 or the ES8 when you were with me.
I think this was the ES6 test drive.
Oh, okay, yeah. We actually try. Actually, I try to get my wife to agree to get the ES6. You know the story, right? Before we did test drive on the ES6 before we make the long trip to Shanghai with ES7. And eventually, when she sees the battery swap along the way and see how practical it is, I keep telling her that if you compare to when we drove a Tesla from Beijing to Shanghai last time, we used like 18 hours, and now we can get it done by like 12 to 13 or even less. So that trip was like to seal the deal, right? And then that's how we get it all good to get the car. And the test drive of ES6 with the cells, he's doing a fantastic job, man. I couldn't complain at all. I couldn't think of anything out of the norm, and that is how they do it in Neo cells. I think he's manager,
Yeah,
but
he
he
drove
does
to
this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, he drove to your place. He got you guys drinks, right, from the
Oh
store,
yeah,
from the new house. Yeah, and then he also gave you an EP9
the
car model,
EP9,
right?
EP9
Yeah,
model,
man.
the
That's
one over
the level of
43.
commitment.
And then when
Yeah,
he saw,
that's pretty.
and actually when he looked into the detail, when we got both of our daughters were in the car during the test drive to let them kind of having a feeling on the ride. He felt so bad that he didn't check before that I have daughter or a son, so he brought that EP9. I said, "Don't worry, man. That EP9 is for me, not for them."
Did he bring any gifts
Yeah,
for the girls once he bought the car?
No, at the delivery, then it's all the delivery team, right? The sale, they were on another location. So, but all the good words and the support from them. So far, it's a good experience getting a Neo compared to the other one I own, right? So,
So going back to what I was gonna say, so he's a very nice guy and he's a very hardworking guy. But he told me a lot of the pre-orders for the ET9 are no commitment pre-orders. So he's got a ton of them, and his colleagues got a ton of them. But after you place a pre-order, they call you and they ask you, "Whoa, what's up? Congratulations on your pre-order." And then apparently they just say, "Hey, new manager, chill out. I'm not actually gonna buy the car. I'm just pre-ordering it to hype it up." So yeah, there's definitely a lot of that going on. Yeah.
So I know 4 people have, like, I know 4 people for sure that have made pre-orders. Me and Ting, we know that the same one from Neo Day, but also, like I mentioned, there's another one that he said for sure he will get it, and the other 2 I don't think so. They just want to put screenshots on their social media. So anything else about Neo Day, guys? Anything we need to add before we move on to the next section?
I love it,
Let's
man.
move on.
It's like a good tradition during Christmas too, because it's like on 23rd, right? So a lot of them bring their families. You see a lot of them, though the like really small kid, they couldn't get into the venue, but then the wife would take them around, and all the dads who love geeky stuff, they would go there. But it's all good, right? It's like it's good event for family too.
For sure. I had a lot of fun. I thought, I mentioned in my last video that I thought it was by far the most like good vibe feeling of any Neo Day I've been to. I think just because COVID is finally done. The last 3, I was at 2 of them, and they were just some of the COVID restrictions and just the vibe was kind of off, but it was a lot of fun, I thought. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is every week we're going to take questions from our Blue Sky Coming podcast listeners or comments. If anybody has any questions, they can comment during the show. We will try to answer your questions, but also you can always email us. Our email is in our show description, and we can prepare to answer your question in advance. So we're going to start that today. We prepared a few questions ourselves since this is our first show. And Ting, I want to ask you, after using your Neo phone for a few months, I used it as well for when I had the ET5 touring. Basically, what is your opinion of the Neo phone? Has it improved? And just anything you want to share about the Neo phone?
For my using, it feel like it could have been better in a way that you all know that it doesn't support GMS yet, the Google Mobile Service.
Mhm.
So you have to like doing some kind of workaround to get all the YouTube, some other stuff done in here. But it's still kind of all right. It's just a little bit more complicated to get it done. But there's a plan to have that support soon, right? I hope that it would be by end of Jan at the latest, because the development team, they actually sort of like pre-announced before that GMS will be supported. The thing I love the most is the integration with the car. So the integration part is actually updated regularly. You can see the improvement on the UI itself. You can see a lot of improvement on the feature. I think they do hear, like they hear the user feedback a lot, right? So they try to implement those feedback when it's like a whole feedback come the same way, same direction. They would just implement it. So you can now do a lot of things with the phone now. Like before, like we wish to turn on the seat heater as well, apart from turn on the HVAC, but you need to be near the car to be in the UWB range to be able to, use the Bluetooth and turn it on. But now you can do it via cellular as well. So now it's like some of the features are actually better than Tesla already in terms of apps and integration. And the second thing is the camera. I shot the whole Neo day with the Neo phone camera. Haven't got it done yet on the video, but then you all will see. I love the quality of the camera itself. It's pretty good. Once GMS support, I think I will switch to this completely. I would not need to bring another phone around. Yeah.
Were you iPhone user before or a different Droid?
I had like a 4 or 5 phones, man, at home. My wife keep beating me every day. So I got the iPhone to shoot all the, because it's like a first terabyte phone I shot, right? And then this one also got 1 terabyte, so I try to use this one as the main camera phone for all the content on the channel from now on. And yeah, but I use both Android and iPhone.
And you guys are a one Neo phone family currently, right?
You mean like for
you,
me?
You, your wife, your kids, you only have one Neo phone, right?
One phone, yeah.
So do you actually utilize like the ultra wideband location, like technology? Do you pass the phone around the car for people to? No.
That is good when you are passenger. If I let my wife drive, the phone is with me, then I can actually, when she was on the phone, I cannot just use Nomi to, hey man, change the temperature on my seat, right? I can just simply use the phone. Yeah, that's the case. That's the only time I use actually. Yeah.
And Mr. P, you're not going to get a Neo phone until you get a NT 3.0 car, or what?
NT 3, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna get a Neo phone until NT3 probably. Yeah, that's probably 3 years out for the car that I want. So we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Next question. I would say, let me ask you guys this one. How about this? Who do you currently see as Neo's biggest rival in China? Do you think it's legacy brands or the new Chinese upstarts? Mr. P, how about you?
I start off? All right.
Yeah, why not you?
So biggest rivals? Well, definitely Tesla. Well, Tesla, Li Auto, and also Xiaomi as well. And these guys that are making cars quite well, and they're selling quite well. But I think the biggest competitor is still Tesla, and because they do sort of have a halo around them here in China, because people really praise Elon Musk and they really love that guy, and their cars just sell extremely well. And going forward, I think every car is going to be benchmarked against Model 3, Model Y, and their cars respectively. Yeah.
What about Ting? What are you seeing?
If you take the main competitiveness of Neo, I think it's the battery swap, and I don't see any competitor. No, I mean, we see a lot of trial from many other brands, right? And as you all see that how heavy they invest on infrastructure, they got like a 2300, soon to be 24, 25 within Q1, maybe even more. So I do think for the infrastructure itself, they got no competition. Now for the car, it's just that we know also it's kind of pricey, so not everyone could like in the major scale, not everyone could afford it. But with the sub brand and the capability of doing swaps and everything that NIO has, that could sort of change the game. So, but if I have to pick one, I don't know what to pick, man.
You don't have to. It's okay. You can leave it at that if
Yeah,
you like.
I think if you compare like all the goods that NIO can do, they don't have competition because battery swap they only well the countrywide. The charger they are the major one for the public charger. Some might say Tesla also allow people to use their charger, but the supercharger which they allow for anyone to use is only their Gen 1, right? Gen 2 charger, 120 kilowatts, and they don't do that anymore. Like they don't put the infrastructure of the Gen 1, the Gen 2 anymore, which means the number of the charger that they can expand, unless they expand to V3, which is faster, I don't see that coming soon, right? So they have the fixed amount of the Gen 2 charger for public. So NIO still beat them on that one.
But it seems to me that like infrastructure isn't really like a big selling point for Chinese consumers. At least that's my feeling, because I mean you look at NIO and
Maybe
it's not.
they
There's
didn't
tons,
advertise enough, like Mr. P said.
yeah.
They didn't
I
show
mean,
the
and
good
there's
enough.
tons of third-party chargers. There's a huge network out there. It's so easy to find a charger in China, pretty much anywhere you go. And
Yeah.
like Mr. P said, a lot of people don't know about power swapping. So maybe marketing is a big problem for NIO, I think, possibly.
Mm.
Like
Oh, I
awareness.
just want to interrupt briefly. And so apparently, starting in 2024, NIO app will not support scanning the code for State Grid chargers and TLD chargers. So for the longest time ever, everybody could use the NIO app to basically pay for chargers everywhere. And it could be non-NIO chargers, and you just scan the app, and it's very easy to use. That's why a lot of people use NIO's charging app, even though they don't own a NIO. But apparently, starting 2024, for State Grid and TLD chargers, Tulidian, which is pretty big as well, you can't use the NIO app anymore to scan the code. You can still view the condition of the charger and the price, but the price might not be accurate. So I'm not too sure why that's happening, but that's happening as well. But very interesting. Very interesting.
So then you just have to use the mini program, right? Just WeChat,
Yeah,
or they
just have to use
have their own app?
mini program. Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
interesting.
I observe a lot of I can see a lot of Tesla charge in NIO charger because
Yeah.
price wise, if they're using the rear wheel drive Teslas, you can only charge up to 170 kilowatt, right? And if you go to the charger, like supercharger from Tesla, it's like 2.5 yuan per kilowatt hour. Whereas in NIO charger, it's like 1.67 at the max, I think. So it's tough to bargain. It's like save at least close to a yuan per kilowatt hour. I see a bunch of Tesla in charger near my usual swap station. I did ask one of the user. They said, yeah, it's cheaper than supercharger. So it's like, yeah, for those cars that can accept more power, they can come to NIO Power, which is more like price competitively and it's faster than Guojia Dianwang, right? Which is like 60 kilowatts at the best.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
best.
and also I've seen a lot of trucks also charge at NIO's chargers, which is pretty amazing. I was
Like box
filming
trucks, right?
Yeah, I was filming like a 3.0 swap station video like a month and a half ago, and while I was filming, an electric truck drove by and it was like, dude, are you gonna use the charger? If not, can I use it? And I was asking him, well, why can't you use those chargers? And he said this one is the cheapest. So it does confirm that Neo's chargers are very competitive in terms of pricing compared to everybody else.
All right, I've got one more question before we get out of here. I think we're going to try to limit our podcast to around 45, 50 minutes each show. So my final question for you guys is, let's see, which one should I choose? How about, do you guys think that there is a future for Neo power swapping outside China, and maybe in particular your own two countries, Canada or Thailand, or for me in America? I can
Man,
answer
I
as well.
really hope so. Actually, may I cut in? Because some of
No,
the
go ahead.
question which I cannot bring it up, they already said like Thailand awaits, right? We really want to have the option there also, because we're one of the country that adopt EV quite fast over there. I'm not sure you know the news, but many of the brands, they actually launched their first product in Thailand for right-hand drive market. So I hope that maybe either Neo is one of them, but could be some other brand as well to go and have the products in right-hand market in Thailand. So battery swap could be a game changer there too, though they have to set their mindset a little bit differently, because in Thailand, I think a lot of users, they would feel like it's a brand new battery, is my own battery, so they don't want to sort of swap out with some other old battery and all. Despite I try to explain, because if you use the battery as the battery that fixed with the car, you mostly use from 90% down to like 20-30, you feel like anxiety to charge already, which means the amount of energy you use is really not up to the maximum capability of the battery, right? With the swap, you at least let the swap station does it work. So I really hope that they have that option in Thailand soon. Many of the Thai fans on my backup channel there, do subscribe to the new channel. So we'll be live stream on the new channel here from the next episode, since it's working pretty well now. Do subscribe, okay? It's all in Thai. So
All right.
some of the questions are in Thai.
All right. So I think for Canada, it will definitely work well. I think because Canada's landmass is very big, first of all, people would have to get accustomed to the mindset. So there's still a lot of learning curve for people to know about battery swap, but I think it would work really well, especially on those bigger cities near the border with US, like Vancouver, Toronto, and then maybe in the big cities. Definitely swap stations would really work for time reasons, right? For me personally, I've saved almost a week of time just by swapping compared to charging. So if I charged every time I swapped, I would have wasted an extra week of time. So this is a pretty interesting statistic. I think once people realize that, it's going to be very convenient to own a car that can do battery swap. But I also think that because Canada is so big, for highway, it's going to be a big challenge. So they'll probably have to build like charging stations along the way instead of swap stations to begin with, and then maybe slowly add swap stations to support East Coast to West Coast driving without charging and just swap. But that's probably going to come much, much later when they do expand into Canada.
Interesting. Yeah, as for me, with regards to United States, I don't really know, to be honest, but I think that probably if they do enter the United States market and they focus on population centers like California or West Coast and East Coast mainly, and just have kind of like a small regional corridor, like basically copy, like on the East Coast, like copy the Acela corridor for the railroad type thing, like Philadelphia, Boston, New York, you know what I'm talking about. And West Coast, I think it could be okay, but I think probably there'll be huge swaths in the middle, at least the first few years, huge swaths of the country in the middle where there's no need for, even having power swap. So like you said, probably just have Neo chargers, or just rely on, third-party chargers, rely on the Tesla network. And with regards to Europe, my experience in Europe, I think it's tough, especially with a lot of the regulations that are happening out there. I'm always looking on the Neo Europe app, and it seems like the power chargers or the power swap stations are always closed or under maintenance, or just waiting for approval. And so I think that's also a big problem, a big hurdle that NIO will face in different markets. I can imagine America, a lot of states will have regulations as well at being a Chinese company. There's some states in America where you can't even sell directly to consumer a car. So imagine trying to set up a Chinese power swap station. So I definitely think it could be a big challenge. Do we have one more question from somebody today? Okay, we do. It looks like somebody asked, when do you think the ET5 and other models will be refreshed or updated? So I guess that one's for Mr. P probably.
Yep.
So that question, very good question. Apparently I heard it's going to be done before the first half of next year. ET5, ET5T, I know for the ES7 and ET7, it's coming for sure. But for the ET5 and ET5T, eventually all of these cars are going to get a refresh because of the new chip, A295 chip, and some other optimizations. So first half of next year for ET7 and ES7 for sure, 100%. And then probably I've heard by Q3 is when the EC7 and some of the other cars will also get refreshed. So that's probably when it's going to happen for the ET5 as well. So probably Q3 of next year.
And of course, if you already own the car, you should also still be able to update your car, right? Like the previous gen.
Yeah, NIO always offers like an upgrade package. You can spend some money and basically get the features that the refreshed version offers, and it's not going to be too expensive. So yeah, that's pretty nice.
And you can use NIO points as well, at least for a portion of it.
Yeah.
So if you are in the market for a NIO, don't be waiting because you're waiting for a refresh. You can always get it and can always keep your car up to date. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, like upgradability.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
And sustainability. It's eco-friendly. Which
means if the sales number doesn't go up as much, you know that they already use the old car and then keep upgrading it, right? So
yeah. So is there any other questions before we start winding this first episode of Blue Sky Coming down?
I may help translate one of the Thai question because they type in Thai on the backup live stream. The question is like related to the reservation of Cybertruck. It's like 1 million, right? So what do you think about NIO regarding the pickup truck?
I don't think a pickup truck will come.
Yeah,
it may be off their market, right?
Coming.
It could be sub-brand. I don't know. Maybe one of the sub-brand will take the pickup truck, maybe. But
they would at least have to launch in the US first before thinking about a truck, because in China trucks just don't really sell well. It's a very small market. It's the opposite of the US. In the US, people love trucks. Here in China, you don't really see trucks ever. You might see like one truck on a good day, but yeah.
And it's usually driving out to the countryside. It's not in the city. I mean, I don't know about Beijing, but here they're not really trucks in Shenzhen.
In Beijing, the truck cannot run inside the city, right? You cannot go inside the inner ring, I think.
Yeah, I've seen a few trucks like Ford trucks.
Because in Hainan you can drive everywhere because it's a truck city, right? You can drive everywhere and all. But in big city, I see only outside of the fifth ring or the fifth ring itself. But inside, it's really hard to see one.
Yeah, I don't see them down here.
And for the truck, if it's 15 years, you need to scrap it regardless of what, even though it's EV, until the regulation change. So I think the truck market in China would be a little bit challenged, I think.
But maybe a good product for Thailand, right?
Yeah,
Thailand or US.
Yeah, Thailand is good. Thailand is a big market for trucks. So.
A lot of trucks, a lot of pickups.
A lot of trucks. So we may see in the future. But
all
not
right,
NIO. Not NIO.
So no more questions for today, I think. So everybody who's here watching, remember you can always email us or just leave a comment while we are live streaming every week, and we can try to answer some questions at the end of each episode. So I think that about wraps it up. Anything you guys want to add before signing off, Mr. Peter Ting?
You first.
Not really much to add. Lots of good things happening with the company. So subscribe, hit the bell, turn on all personal notifications, and we'll see you guys next week.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Don't peace out yet.
Don't peace out.
I just want to add a little bit for some of the questions just that you guys just type in. We're gonna keep those and then try to answer for the next episode. So stay tuned, and then we try to get all of the questions submitted to get it all answered, at least the most that question we have, right?
Yeah, for sure.
For the Thai people who go to the backup link, please subscribe this Blue Sky Coming, the new podcast. We're gonna live stream from the main channel from the next EP since it's working okay. Once again,
Perfect. All right, so I guess that's it. So thanks everybody, and we will see you guys next week. And we'll try to have a fixed schedule as well, but we're not quite sure on that yet, I think. So
sure. Any feedback, do let us know. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and thanks both of the excellent hosts up here.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bye everyone.
Peace out. Now we can say peace out.
Stay healthy.
Peace out.